Hey guys, welcome back to episode number 12 of Logo Design Bootcamp. My name is Steve from GraphicDesignerTips.com, and every episode we design a fictitious logo for you as a graphic designer to learn from, and ultimately, in the end, I promise you that you will become a better graphic designer. I'd like to thank everybody for watching all the previous episodes, for your input, comments, and sharing them out. Much appreciated. But more importantly, besides helping you all out, the input that I get from you guys is very important because it kind of determines what my future videos are. So, the last couple of videos I put together, I've had some inquiries for some basic corporate logos to be designed for you to learn from. And it's funny because in my line of work out in New York, my clients basically, I would say 90% of them, when I do branding for them, it's all corporate logo design. So this series has allowed me to branch out and just have a lot of fun because, you know, graphic design is supposed to be fun. But I've gotten a lot of inquiries for more casual, more professional logo design. So that's what I've done for you guys today. Today's episode is based on the letter L. And I don't mean L for loser, although it just kind of happened that I threw my hand up there. I'm from Long Island, New York, so it's only fitting that I design a logo from where I'm from. And so using the letters L-I-L, I designed a logo called Long Island Lawyers, which is a very, very professional corporate-based logo. Now, there's certain things that you need to follow when you're designing corporate logos, or things you need to remember. Now, you need to realize that, you know, especially if you're designing a letterhead for somebody, they're going to be faxing that letterhead. So you want to make sure this logo not only looks great in color, but it looks good in black and white also. And the more times they fax it over and over, eventually you're going to lose little details in that logo. It's just going to happen. They don't realize they're doing it. But you need to make sure that you don't put too many little baby tiny details in it. That is just enough subtle detail so it doesn't lose the quality of the image down the road. Just a little thought. Most likely it's nothing to worry about, but it's always something you want to plan for. Aside from that, the LIL is a symbol that they can brand. They can put that standalone on something and feel proud that that represents their company. That's what I did in this logo, but as you see, I was able to make the symbol as a part of the first letter L and then continue the word lawyers. So you can also use that, as like I said, as a standalone symbol, put it on top, put it to the left, but it's cool when you can incorporate a logo in a symbol into a text-based logo too. So let me jump into critiquing this real quick, and then we're going to build it in Adobe Illustrator. Let's go. I'm very happy with how the Long Island Lawyers logo came out, and there's a couple things to note in here. First off, the lawyers is the more important aspect. Long Island is not the important aspect here, and that's why lawyers is more emphasized than Long Island, and Long Island kind of just fits right in there. And I purposely did it so from the A to the end of the R, the word Long Island fit. Over here is the actual symbol, the L, which is a backwards L, the I that comes right in the middle, that splits it apart, and then the other L. And it actually forms the scales of justice, which is pretty cool. I'm sure you've seen those before. In the background, there is a little silhouette of I want to say the state of Long Island, but it's a silhouette. I found a picture on Google Maps or Google Images of Long Island, traced it, and threw it into here. And there's a little gradient that makes it disappear on the bottom, which is cool. And what I also did was on the bottom of this logo, had to kind of extend to kind of contain the logo. I also did a larger S on the top to try to contain this Long Island in here. It's actually called small caps, and I'll show you what that is when we build it in Adobe Illustrator. So let's go. I also had another request from somebody who asked me to continue to show how my my layout and my mind, I guess, works when I'm doing this stuff. But this was actually really, I knew this concept. I had this concept in my head for the last couple of days before I did this today. So my desktop is really pretty clean. I mean, this is kind of like the walkthrough where we start. And I was here at one point messing with some things, and I was considering having the O over here by the L and all that stuff. It's evolved to what it was in the end, so I had to show you guys this. But I'll be showing this in every episode from now on, just so you can kind of realize that this stuff doesn't happen easy. I mean, it takes time. Like I said, this took about an hour, this logo, which is really good compared to most of the logos that I've done. So that it can take, 2, 3, 4 hours. I mean, with also going back and forth with changes to really get it and iron it out right. Now we're in Adobe Illustrator CS6, and we're going to build this logo real quick, and you're going to be a lot better off than you were before you watch this video, I assure you. So I use Times New Roman, very simple. Everybody has that on their computer, they should. We're going to go to the type tool, and we're going to type in the word Long Island. All right, and all right, so it should look like that, Long Island. And I'm going to type out the word lawyers, W-Y-E-R-S. And the thing that you're going to learn in this episode, besides every little other thing, which I think is very important when it comes to typography, is doing small caps. And what I mean is small caps is, let's make this word lawyers a little bit larger, like I just did. And we're going to come up to character, or wherever your character palette might be on the right. And we're going to come to this little top drop down and go small caps. And now we're going to make sure just the L is capital. Okay, let me back up a second. Everything's going to be capital, but everything else is going to be smaller. And the way that you get the L and the S to be capital, you hit shift just like you're trying to make a capital letter on the start of a sentence. So that's called small caps, and that's what I did in this case. So let's see. Just try to get it kind of like the right size as the other logo. All right, and now I'm going to delete that L because we're going to add that logo symbol later. And we're going to take Long Island, and we're going to add some tracking in here. And we're going to add about 500 tracking. And what tracking is it adds space after the letter. So it spaces it out. Instead of me taking Long Island and going like this with it, and it's too many, it's too clunky, it's filling up, it's taking up too much space. We're going to add that tracking, and it spreads it out, and it makes it more soft of a feel. It's a good way of filling up an area with a word is adding tracking. And then you can mess with individual tracking on certain letters and such. Pretty cool. The next thing we're going to do is, you're going to go to Google, and you're going to type in Long Island, and you're just going to find a picture, and you're going to take the pen tool, and you're going to do your thing and trace Long Island until you get this shape up here, or something very similar, or, I mean, how can you not? This shape up here. And basically all I did, and this is very simple, was I threw it in the back, and it's behind the word Oyers, and we're going to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back, and we're just going to put a little gradient on it from gray to white. And we're going to make sure that gradient is darker on the top than it is on the bottom, so it disappears under the word. Now, we're going to, what are we going to do now? We're going to, if you look at the original logo, the word Oyers has a white stroke behind it. And I do this in all of my videos because it's very important that you add character to fonts in a logo. Okay, so we're going to make sure this is outlined by going to Type, Create Outlines, or Shift Command O, and we're going to select the whole word, which is grouped already, and we're going to go to Command C for copy, and Command B, which is going to paste it right behind itself. It's not going to paste it behind that Long Island silhouette. It's going to paste it right behind the word Oyers, which you got to get used to sending in the back. And we're going to make this. We're going to make a stroke. We're going to put white on the stroke, and we're going to make the weight a little bit higher. And I like to always make my corner caps round. That's just me. They look cleaner. So now we have that little separation, and we're going to, you're going to make a gradient of whatever color you want. This is the gradient that I made. I made this like purplish blue to black, and I made the blue at the top. So I'm going to alter my gradient just like so. Very nice. And now we're going to make this symbol for the LIL, which is, if you haven't realized yet, that's what it is. It's L as in long, I as in island, lawyers. And it looks just like the Scales of Justice, which is awesome. So when you're working on a logo and you finally have that breakthrough, it's like you have that aha moment. It's like the best feeling in the world, because you know that you didn't leave anything, you know, on the table. You gave it your all, and your client is going to see this thing and they're going to be so happy, and you're going to feel great that you didn't cut corners or anything like that. You gave them exactly what you wanted. So we're going to come to type in L, and we're going to make that L larger. And take that tracking off because it's making my text box look really large. There we go. And I'm going to make it like so. And I'm going to copy that and flip it around by coming to our rotate tool, or reflect tool, excuse me, O on the keyboard, and flip it around. And I'm going to lay them right like this. And I'm going to outline those by going to Object. Oh, actually, excuse me. Let me make an I. So you're going to copy that and make the letter I, capital I. And I'm going to put that right in the center of it. Let's just fill that with white right now so you can kind of see where we're at with it. All right, so we're going to make it a little bit taller, just like so. Actually, a little bit more. Cool. A little bit more. Got it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I want my L on each side to be a little thicker. So all I'm going to do is, if you note, they're behind that eye. And let's fill that eye with the actual color so you can see it's behind them. So as I move this to the right, I nudge it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to do this one. Always do everything even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless, you know, you want a different look. But, you know, always count when you're nudging things over, of course. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Shift Command O to outline the letter I. And I'm going to make sure the L and this L are outlined. And I'm going to come up to my Pathfinder tool. And I'm going to, let's go merge. And now what that did is that made it one full shape. And I'm going to select both of these. As long as that red is on top of that shape, we're going to minus the front. And now we just have these two shapes. So you're going to see they're kind of floating there now. Pathfinder, if you haven't played with it yet, it's really a cutout tool, and it's awesome. I am going to now make this shape for the top and the shape for the bottom, and that's what kind of seals in that L, that I, and it adds to the symbol, because you know, this is, personally, I'm not happy with this as a symbol, just by itself. So we're going to, what are we going to do here? Let's make a rounded rectangle, okay? Actually, no, don't make make a rectangle. And we're going to go like this with the rectangle. We're going to have some fun with this. Okay, and you're going to hit the direct selection on each point on the top and nudge it over to the inside. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Same thing over here to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And we're going to now come to our pen tool, go to the Convert Anchor Point tool. And you're going to click on that endpoint, and we're going to smooth out and round that corner. We're going to round that corner. And now I'm just going to Option, click, shift it down to copy it. Go to the Reflect tool, flip it around. And I am going to make sure this left edge lines up with here. And later at the end of the tour, I'm going to take this and I'm going to span it across. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish these little scales over here. And the way that I did that was you go to the Ellipse tool, make an ellipse. Now taking a rectangle, throw it on top, and we're going to cut it out from the top. All right, and all I did was just create a rectangle on top of this, just to make this shape. And so that is the bottom part of the shape. And now we're going to do this V. I'm going to show you the cool way I did this V. You know, you can figure out your own way to do it, even just with the pen tool, but this is how I like to do things. So make a rectangle, and right down the center, we're going to put a point here and a point here. And you do that by hitting the plus sign on your keyboard, or coming in here to Add Anchor Point tool, and add it right down the center, one on the top and one on the bottom. Which didn't go. There we go. All right, now take your direct selection and select only those 2 points. Hover both those 2 points and grab the point and pull it up just like so. Voila. All right, now that's kind of thick. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up more, and I'm going to shrink this just to kind of get it where I want it to be. Get out of here, kitty. All right, that was my cat. All right. And now I'm going to create a rectangle right on top of here, and I'm just going to cut that out from the top and lay that right on top right there. Cool. Good enough. You know, this logo took me over an hour to build, so, you know, in 10 minutes, I'm just going to kind of wing it. And what I did was I grouped these three objects right here. Make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to put one here. Make it a little bit larger. And a little bit larger. Now, the other reason I want to show you, I had a, well, not a hard time, but, you know, trying to figure out, when you're trying to figure out the logo when you're building it initially, this scale of justice right here, it fits in this area perfectly, because I was trying to figure out, you know, what can I do to fill this area, because it just looks so funky. And then, you know, obviously with the scales of justice, it really worked out perfectly. That's before I had the idea with the scales of justice. I just had the LIL, and then that kind of popped into my head, which was good. But now I am going to take this entire logo, and I'm going to group it by going to Command G, or going to Object Group, and I'm going to put that same gradient on it, the blue, and I'm going to make sure it goes from top to bottom. And now I'm going to put it in its place. Put you in your place. All right, now I'm going to copy and paste in the back, because we're going to add that white stroke just like we did before. And I'm going to add a few points on that to match everything else. There we go. Now I'm going to make sure this is locked, because I don't want to select this. So go to Command 2 to lock it. And I'm going to select this bottom, these points under here just with the direct selection. So you're going to hit A on your keyboard, highlight those 2 points, and pull this bad boy all the way over to the end of the S. And I'm going to make this just a little bit lower. So there we go. That's how I wanted it to be. Or maybe a little bit more, 2 more nudges. And the last thing I'm going to do is this little subtle effect that just softens the whole entire piece. I love doing stuff like this. You're going to make a rectangle that spans the entire width of everything. And we're going to fill it with that for now, just so you can see. And we're going to Option click Shift until we make a nice little arrangement of these. Zoom out. And I'm going to make some more. Okay. Select all, and we're going to align, and we're going to distribute them evenly through the vertically, through the center. And we're going to fill them with white. We're going to fill them with white. We're going to take the transparency as an overlay, and we're going to take the opacity down to 20%. Now, I don't know that by heart. I just did that quick because that's what I did on the last one. It's all experimentation. So yeah, I get a little bit of a different effect here because they're not as spaced out as these, and they're thicker, but it just gives it a different look. All right, so if you made it this far, you definitely learned something cool about corporate logo design. I hope you learned a little bit. If you did, definitely comment below. Let me know your thoughts. And like I said, input's very important for future episodes. Let me know what you're looking to see, and I'll make it happen. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel by clicking this button. Here's also a couple of other episodes that we've done, so you can click on them and view our other content. So definitely like this video and share it out if you felt it was helpful to you. And that's really it. I'm Steve from GraphicDesignerTips.com. Everybody have a good night. Peace.